lovely, and welcome back to a new video. Today I have a TBR video, which I actually have not done in a pretty long time, but I am doing a Instagram followers blindly, I guess, picks my August TBR. So I am a mood reader. I struggle on what books to read. Like, I get very overwhelmed with my physical TBR, and then I end up adding more books to my physical TBR and then not reading any because I just end up reading things on my Kindle. But I have a lot of physical books that I really wanted to read this summer. We have a lot of summery reads that I just have not picked up yet that I really want to get to. So I thought this would be a good way of like motivating me to read them if you guys have picked them for me to read. I've gone with about 6 books because I feel like I average between like 6 and 10 books a month, and then it kind of gives me room to add more to it if there are any that don't get picked that I want to read, or if there's other ones that I haven't like included in this. I've said summary reads, but only a few of them are actually summary reads because I didn't want it to all be summer romances. Like, I've tried to include some fantasy in there, a few sadder books, ones that aren't just like, I'm going to a beach house and I'm going to fall in love, even though I love them. But I've tried to switch it up a little bit, not really, because I don't have very many fantasy on my TBR at the moment, and I don't have any thrillers or anything like that on my physical TBR anyways. But yeah, basically we are going to pick 6 books, I think. Oh no, we have 5. We're going to pick 5 books. I have put a poll up on my Instagram story of the 2 books, but I've like coloured them in so you can't see what it is, and then I've picked emojis that kind of relate to the books and asked you guys, my followers over on Instagram, to pick. So let's just get into it. So for the first one, that is our fantasy read, and this is between 2 books that I've had on my physical TBR for so long. I got both of these on release date, never read them. So we have Never by Jessa Hastings, which honestly is still so surprising to me that I haven't read this, because if you don't know, Jessa Hastings is one of my favourite authors. The Magnolia Park series is one of my all-time favourite series. But I actually feel like that is potentially why this has taken me so long, because I've heard a lot of conflicting opinions on this book. Obviously, I know it's not going to be the same as the Magnolia Park series, and I wouldn't want it to be. But I feel like maybe I've got a little bit in my head about it, and I'm just a little bit nervous in case I don't like it. But this is the first option. This is a fantasy like Peter Pan retelling. Then we have Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. Again, this one has been on my TBR for so long. I don't really know what this one is about. I just know that this first book, so many people have hyped it up, but then I waited that long that the second book came out, and then I heard bad things, conflicting things about the second book, and then I didn't want to start this one if I thought that the second book was going to be underwhelming. Not really the best way to be, but I've just never got around to this. I don't know a lot about this book apart from that they write letters to each other on a magical typewriter. There's some kind of war going on. That's all I really know. Honestly, going into both of these pretty much blind. But these were the ones in the first poll. So for Divine Rivals, the emojis that I put were a letter, a girl at a laptop because I did not have a typewriter emoji, and then I put some little twinkly stars because of the ones that are on the cover. And then for Never, I did a little island, a like shooting star, and a boy. Because rudely, there is no emoji of a person flying, which like would have hit this one on the head. So let's see which one won. Okay, so Divine Rivals actually won with 53%, Never got 47%. So this is the winner, and this is the first one that is going on my August TBR. Then next up we have romances, but romances that are maybe a little bit, I don't want to use the word darker, but romances that aren't just like your cut and dry, fluffy kind of romance. I have If Only I Had Told Her by Laura Nowlin. This is the sequel-ish to If He Had Been With Me. It's kind of told from the guy's point of view. I don't know if it, well, it doesn't follow on, I'm presuming. But I, again, picked this up when it first came out and just have not got around to it. I think If Only He Had Been With Me, I did find it sad, but I didn't find it as sad as everybody else seemed to, and I cry at everything. So I just don't think I've like gravitated to pick this one up because I didn't really care for the characters that much. However, I feel like I will maybe cry at this one. And then I have Bride by Ali Hazelwood. I've actually never ever read a single Ali Hazelwood book. We do have 2 of hers on this TBR, but I feel like this might be a good one to start with because it's like different from her other stuff, I think. Well, it's literally a fantasy romance. It's her first romantasy. It follows a werewolf and a vampire. Again, I've heard questionable things about this one, but I think it might just be fun to read something a little bit different, venture out of my comfort zone just slightly. Okay, so the emojis that I did for these ones, for Bride, I feel like it's very obvious what this book is. I did a wolf, a vampire, and a little drop of blood. And then for If Only I Had Told Her, I did a rose because we have the roses on here. I then did like a siren. I was going to do a car, but that felt a little bit mean. And then I've done a school because they were like school besties, went to school together. So let's see which one has won. Okay, actually, If Only I Had Told Her has won. I thought that Bride was going to win purely because of how obvious the emojis were. But this one has won. So I guess that this is going on our August TBR too. Okay, next up, our first like fluffy-ish kind of romance. We have another Ali Hazelwood book, we have The Love Hypothesis, and then we have the new Ashley Poston book, A Novel Love Story, which I'm really hoping is this one because I'm really excited to get to this. So again, like I said, I've never read any Ali Hazelwood books, but I'm pretty sure this was like the first in this whole mini series, like women in STEM kind of vibes. Haven't read it. I don't know if it's conflicting or like if people just think it's a little bit cringe now. But either way, I want to read it at some point just so I can say that I've read her books because I've not read a single one, and she's like one of the most hyped up authors on BookTok, Bookstagram. I feel like I need to read a book. But Ashley Poston, every single book of hers that I've read, I've loved. Like The Dead Romantics and The 7 Year Slip, I was obsessed with. Like I love both of them books so much, and I'm really excited for this one. This one, from what I've gathered, takes place in like a small town. All of her books have like a magical realism sort of quality to them. So she is basically transported into her favourite romance novel. Like she goes into the town. And honestly, it's kind of just giving Gilmore Girls. So I'm really hoping that we get this one. Just saying, guys. So obviously for this one, the emojis are very women in STEM coded. We did a little scientist, a little lab. Oh my God, what are they called? Like a test tube, right? And a lab coat. And then for this one, I did a little house because we're set in a small town, a love heart because romance, and a book because she's going into her favourite romance book. So let's see which one has won. Okay, so this is actually the one with the biggest difference. So A Novel Love Story did win, praise Jesus, but it won with 81%. So this one only got 19%. Sorry, me literally having to check to do the maths, which I'm surprised about because I felt like the emojis, again, were pretty obvious and I feel like people really like this book, but I am pleased it is this one. Then another romance. Sorry guys, I did say it's going to be pretty summer romance heavy, but we have When in Rome by Sarah Adams and This Summer Will Be Different by Carly Fortune. I've actually just thought, I feel like this should be Meet Me at the Lake because I haven't read that yet. So I'm kind of going to cheat, but I'm going to change this for Meet Me at the Lake. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, we've got it. I've just thought I have not read this book and I don't think they like follow on from each other, so to speak, but maybe they have references. I don't know. So kind of cheating. I do apologise, but I feel like the vibes are the same. Like the emojis fit anyway. But yeah, this one follows on from Every Summer After, which is like a summer romance. It's set on like a little lake, beach house type thing. Don't know what this one is about, but I think they will have similar vibes. And then we have When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I recently read my first Sarah Adams book and I did really enjoy it. It was very easy to read, like so easy to digest. Cute little rom-com vibes, and I've heard good things about this one, like more so than the rule book, which is one that I read. So I'm hoping that this will be cute. So the emojis that I did for When in Rome, we did a little pasta, of course. We did a little 2 people kissing, and then we did a little chef. I think one of them is a baker. One of them has a pie shop. Okay. And then for Meet Me at the Lake, or it was supposed to be This Summer Will Be Different, but same kind of vibes. I did a little love heart face emoji, a little boat and a wave. So I feel like this, it fits the vibes. Let's see which one won. Okay, so pretty close, I guess, but When in Rome actually won with 53% and this one only got 47%. So we are adding When in Rome to the TBR. And then the last two, guys, the last two options that we have, I had to throw another sad one in there. So that is 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole. Honestly, this one I've heard, I don't want to say like traumatizing things about, but people are distraught over this book. And as I've previously mentioned, I cry at literally everything. So I'm preparing to like sob my little heart out whenever I read this book, which honestly, don't mind. Like, I'm kind of in the mood for that. But I have heard such good things about this one. So this is Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan, I think is how you say her name. I have not read any of her books. Nora Goes Off Script is on my TBR, but I've not yet read it. But this book, I feel like I've seen everywhere. I think it follows, like, obviously a romance, clues in the name, babes, summer romance. But I think it touches on, like, heavier topics, or, like, almost puts them in a way that maybe, like, an Abby Jimenez books does, where, like, you have the topic, but it's not, I don't want to say the focal point, but she's touching on heavier topics without it being too depressing. They're kind of the vibes that I've got from this, but I know that Destiny loved this one. Like, she cried at this. I'll probably cry. I know that actually, I think a dog features quite heavily in this book, and like the quotes that I've seen about that, I know will make me sob, because any chance I get to cry about my dogs, I'm doing it. But I'm really hoping that it's this one because I feel like I will love it. This is like a 5-star prediction for me, but also I have heard really good things about this one, so I would like be happy with either of these actually. So the emojis that I did for this one was a crying face, a broken heart and a kissy emoji, because just from what everybody said, I'm guessing that this one is going to be sad. And then for this one, I did a little sunshine, a watermelon and a heart. Maybe not quite fitting the vibes, I don't know, but I was just going off like the bright colours in the cover, the summery vibes. So let's take a look. Okay, so Summer Romance actually won with 63% and 1,000 Boy Kisses only got 37%. So she is a big winner. Adding that one to the TBR, that is the last book that we are adding onto there. So let's quickly just go through the books I'm adding to my August TBR. We have, for our fantasy read, Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. For our slightly more emotional read, we have If Only I Had Told Her by Lauren Nolan. Don't know. And then we have 3 romance books on here, of course. We have When in Rome by Sarah Adams, A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston, and Summer Romance by Annabelle Monaghan. I'm going to put these 2 at a 5-star prediction, and potentially Divine Rivals actually. I've heard really good things about this first book, but they are all of the books on my August TBR. I'm hoping that I will actually stick to it and read these, and that I will also have time to add a few extras on as well. I actually really want to get to Bride, so maybe we will add that one on there as well, but these are the ones I'm going to be prioritising as my August TBR. Getting in a few little last summer romances. As always, make sure you are following my Goodreads and Instagram to stay more updated, because I will be posting reviews of these as and when I read them. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.